Good morning, ladies and gents. Today, we are finishing what we started yesterday, specifically getting those NPC transactions in place. I already started digging into the concept of ooh, sorry, that was angry, high-pitched noise. Started in on the concept of getting an NPC to have an inventory so that they could hold things. Obviously, if they can't trade things, you should still be able to give things to them. And we need to be able to check their inventory and say, hey, does this NPC happen to have, say, this quest item they sent you out on? Or have you been giving them things so maybe they like you? I don't know. So I'm looking at all the possibilities and bits and pieces here. And also, we need to hop into our item trade UI, which, remember, from yesterday... if you note from yesterday, when we pick a party member and all the things in their inventory, we should be able to pick things. So let's do that as well. So the item trade UI. First off, I think we have to add the event systems to our list of things that we are using, and also, yeah, point click handler. Oh, come on, click handler. Pointer click handler. There we go. It's one of these pointy, clicky something or others, I swear. And I already know what the UI function is going to look like. I'm actually going to go so far as to even toss a header here, because I know this is going to take up some space. When you click on it, what do? We highlight it. Obvious thing. Get component. I believe it's a raw image we're using. It's raw. It's hardcore. It's in the items folder. That's what it is. And it has, yeah, raw image. Sweet. So we set the color to white. And actually, we need to know if it's been selected. So actually, what I'm going to do, we're going to grab the component itself. We're going to say, by the way, Boolean selected. If its alpha is greater than 0, then we know it's been selected. And we're just going to switch whatever that happens to be. So if it's true, it's false. If it's false, great, it's true. If it is selected, then the color should be white. Otherwise, the color should be transparent. I like how clear is a color. Whatever, don't care. Okay, so this at bare minimum will let us do the basics, right? We click, and hey, look, it should appear and disappear. Because that's what these things do. We hit trade with him. Hey, there we go. And now we can select and deselect things. The other part we want to do here is we want to put how much money you will be making or losing based on the transaction. So what do we need? Well, the item trade UI, I think what we're going to do is we're going to add an event here. Is it going to be an action, though? I have to think about this. It is going to be, ow, painful when I slam my elbow into my desk, as I just did. Not a good sign. Programmers should always take care of their arms and hands and those, things they use to make code. Ah, it's all tingly. Oof, that's weird. Ah. Okay, moving on. now I'm just so distracted by this. Like, it's going away, but it's just taking enough time that it's just like my train of thought just like started and then derailed. Okay, we want a action, I think. No, we don't. We want a function. A function whose result is void. Actually, I'm pretty sure no. I was right the first time. Action, and it's going to take, or send. It's not going to take, it's going to send. Probably an integer. And we'll call this on selection. I think that should be right. I'm actually tempted to pass an inventory item into here. But for now, we'll just do integer, and I won't care anything else about it. Actually, no, let's just do inventory item for now. Worst case, I dumb it down later. So, NPC window should have a couple other helpers in here. Specifically a on trade item selected. Maybe we'll add a bool to this to let you know if it's been selected or deselected. Really? You think that feels good? Ugh. Tingly and weird. I don't know. I wouldn't fly with that. It's a little too bizarre for me. On trade item toggled. And we'll do the bool selected and the inventory item, for lack of better words. I mean, the other way to do it would be taking the actual slot. I'll have to figure out how I want to do this, but shouldn't be too difficult. We know that there's this amount text floating around. And actually, I should probably grab the trade route. Or, I guess the other easier way to do this is to just do a find all the way down. Right? There's our trade route slash amount text. Yeah. So there's a couple ways to do this, and I'm kind of tempted to do the slow way because it means storing less information. And essentially what I'm tempted to do, and I'm not entirely convinced this is the best way to do it, but I'm also not a huge fan of I'm not a huge fan of storing extra information or duplicating information. And where the heck is this warning coming from? Because that's going to bother the heck out of me. Okay, you go away. You're causing a warning. I am unappreciative of that fact. Better. Okay, so there's a couple parts to this. First, the biggest part is the fact that our trade UI script has to come out of the object, and we say trade UI script, we set the item, and then the other thing we need to set inside of it is the event. So that's our on selection, and we're just going to attach it to the on trade item toggle. Sweet. And this is going to go so far as to say if on selection isn't null, then we're just going to call it. So on selection with the item and selected. And that's all we really need to know. So now we've selected an item. We need to count all the items that have been selected, count up the amount of money they're worth in total, and then I'm not sure if there's anything else, honestly, that needs to get done here. That might be it. I'm going to put some little helper bits and pieces in here. Specifically, I kind of want a get helper here for selected. Being able to do this and just check it would be nice. If it's selected, that will be true. Why? Get component, raw image. We grab the color, and we grab the alpha of that color. And we check if that's greater than 0. Oh, I know. I need a return statement here. Don't mind me just derping about, wondering what the heck is wrong with my code. Oof. Alright, yeah. Let's do it this way. So we're gonna grab the trade route, but not just that, we're actually gonna go into, I need to know the makeup of this thing so I can know exactly where I'm gonna go once Unity's done, you know, compiling things. Items, monsters, NPCs, no. Prefabs, NPC window. I need to know what some of this looks like. Specifically this trade route. It goes trade route, party, scroll view, viewport, content. And then we're going to check all the children. And we're going to say, not bool, sorry, int our selected count. Actually, our trade amount will start at 0. We know that each child here is going to have a trade UI image, or an item trade UI script. There we go, words. So we know this script is going to be here, so we can do a few things pretty easily. The trade amount is going to, I guess we should say, if the trade UI script is selected first. If it's selected, I don't know why I put brackets out there. This is a little one-line if statement. Then the trade amount is going to be not equal to. We're going to add to it the trade UI script item cost. Sell price. Hey, here we go. And because we know we're good merchants, you're not actually going to get the full sell price. You probably will get like 75% of the sell price, right? That's how pretty much any and every game does this. For now, we're just going to add in the sell price because it would be interesting if different vendors had different highs and lows, things they liked, things they didn't like. Obviously, if you're selling weapons to a weapon vendor, he might give you better prices because it's a little more in line with what he wants. I don't know. I'm a big fan of having little details like that kind of strewn all throughout the game, if only because it makes the game feel a little more alive. If you can just walk up to any old vendor and be like, here, I've got like 8 swords and like some armor, and the guy's like, look, I just sell hot dogs. Obviously, he's not going to be terribly interested in your wares, and even if you offer him a lot, there's not really much to say he would take it ever. So either health potions have 0, or I forgot to hook something up. I forgot to hook something up. Specifically, I should say trade amount to string plus the gold counter. Let's try that again. This time with less failure. Hey, there we go. Bam, give me all that gold. Okay, so this is the other thing we have to do. We have to hook up the trade button to actually do something. We'll call it, I don't know, submit transaction. Yeah. So when you submit a transaction, we need to do two parts. One, we need to remove things from your inventory and add them to the NPC. That's only one thing. I don't know why I pointed at my other finger. The other thing we need to do here is we need to take our the amount of money that you owe or gain and add it or subtract it from the amount. Also, we should probably double check if you have enough money to do this. So let's just do something real quick here. Two parts. One, we need a color that is the not enough money color, for lack of better words. Insufficient funds. That's probably going to be longer, isn't it? Insufficient funds. Yeah, I don't know. I like using less words, but when they're longer like this, whatever, the too expensive color. You don't have enough money, go kill more things. And then we have the normal color, and not, normal's not a good word. The affordable color. This color won't cost us a lot to license, therefore we can use it in the game. It's affordable, you know. Let's get that affordable color set up. That's going to be equal to not action choices. This is actually going to be transform find child, and we are hunting for the, once again, I need layout. I wish I could just have like the layout of something pinned so that I just could always see it. Okay, the trade route, the amount text dot get component text dot color. Cool. And let's just hop back here for a moment. We need to set this color. Yeah, I like red. Maybe a darker red. All right. Grab this reference. Okay, so if the trade amount is greater than the amount of money that the party currently has, if it's greater than the amount of currency held, then obviously we need the expensive color, the too expensive color, as opposed to the affordable color. And the reason why I did the affordable color as a private variable up here is that I want to be able to modify that in the editor easily. And I want it to match the visual look when I set it up in the editor, as opposed to I can't see the too expensive color. There's no place to put it. So I made that public, but we need to store the affordable color somewhere. So essentially on start, we grab the color from the editor and say, whatever you set it to when we start, that's what we're going to keep. That's how we're going to keep going. Hey, Mental. Always good to see familiar names in the morning. Glad you guys keep coming back. Means I'm doing something right, hopefully. Oop, one sec. One thing I forgot. Back up the truck here. The trade button needs a new on-click. Specifically, the NPC window function called... What did I call it? Guys, you remember what I call it? Submit transaction. There it is. Haha. Don't mind me. Little more bit of early morning pre-coffee forgetfulness. It happens all the time, especially when you're an addict like I am. Okay. Text. Where'd you go? What you doing? Hey, buddy. Where you going? Come on. Okay. Slight issue. There's no alpha. Oops, I think is the term I need to say. Yeah, no, that was just me screwing up. My NPC window, you need alpha. Hey, look at that. Alpha is a good thing. Okay, we've got our alpha set. The other thing I can't help but notice, if the trade amount... so for each one that's selected in here, I'm actually going to subtract so that you get that much gold, right? I'm actually tempted to have it be green so you know it's coming into you, as opposed to red, you're spending that much. And maybe we'll do a dark red for the you can't afford it. Oh, or here we go. If the trade amount is greater than 0, this won't be the too expensive. This will be the, let's see, affordable? No, bad word. Let's use the positive income color. I know that's long, but whatever. And here is our expense color. Oh wait, positive income. Why positive? Why not just income color? Or maybe instead of expense, it could be, screw it, income color. Don't care. I'll have to probably fix this in the editor, because the too expensive color is no longer a thing. Don't forget our alpha, again, that would be bad. Okay, colors reset, names are better. I like those names a lot better. And what we're going to do is, okay, I'm using the trade route way too often. Transform trade route. Much better. And now I start at the trade route and just look further down the line. I like that a lot more. Not only does it simplify the find child calls, it also cleans up some of our execution. Makes us do a lot less searching. So starting at the trade route, I am looking for an object named, I think it's called the trade button. Why do I keep removing this from the scene again? It's like the third or fourth time that I keep recreating it. Get component, we know it's a button. And disabled? No, interactable. Interactable is going to be equal to if the trade amount is greater than the party fund, the amount of money the party has. Currency, oh come on, currency held. Oops, sorry, less than or equal to. Right, because if you're spending money equal to that, then that should be how it goes. So we have the absolute value of that. Cool. Let's see if this works. I think it should work. I hope it works. Let's try it out. No, don't delete the name of things. Delete the things I tell you to delete. Oh, game. You so silly. Okay, so you'll note right now that it is red. That is incorrect. If it's greater than 0. Oh, why aren't you removing? Silly thing. Okay, try this again. Once more with the feeling. Hey, okay, I would get that much money. Now I can click the trade button. And what we do is, on submit transaction, we need to do a bunch of stuff. This is where the hardcore processing really needs to kick in. Okay, first off, the item trading, right? We know that we have to somehow remove things from the player. Excuse me while I stretch. And yawn, apparently. Okay, sorry, just had to get that out of my system. Okay. We need more information inside our trade UI. Specifically, we need the slot that the item takes up. So here's the inventory index. There we go. And when we set up the item trade UI, we actually need that index. So I'm going to do the following. Is less than the number of slots in our inventory. Right? Basic stuff here. I mean, a lot of this programming is pretty straightforward, but a lot of what we're doing is also fundamental things. You'll find that a lot of game programming, if you ever end up doing this stuff yourself, I know there are some people who just like sit here and watch because they're interested in how the process works, and because I talk a lot, and apparently that's entertaining. But a lot of the fundamental stuff you see me doing is what programmers kind of do on a day-to-day basis when putting a game together. It's building systems and then matching up all the pieces that need to talk to each other. Oh gosh, I have a name in a color I can't read. Let me try this. Brickus? Ugh, you'll have to help me with the pronunciation of that at some point. Just want to say, started watching the Dungeon Crawl series on your YouTube channel. Yeah, I knew I put those up for a reason. Helped you tremendously so far. Thanks for doing all the work for us. No problem, man. I'm definitely happy to do what I can to help out. It's a learning experience. If people who are knowledgeable with Unity are here because they teach me things, and then in return I tend to also hopefully teach you guys things in return as well. I hope it's a two-way and not just like me being an idiot and learning things. Yes, it's fundamental. Fun being the emphasized word, as Blue Booger puts it. Alright, trade button, interactable, yes. What was I doing? Right, I was setting that index. Trade UI script. Inventory index is I. So this will let us track where in the inventory the item is. And what this lets us do is now we can say, oh, by the way, we know you have these things in your inventory and we know where they are, so we can pluck them out and then proceed to push them across to the NPC a lot more easily than searching through, finding the item, making sure the index matches. No, don't care. We're going to do this the old-fashioned way. So we submit a transaction. I need to actually grab the for loop that's down here. And we're going to say for each child that is currently inside, whoops, I want the trade root, don't I? Transform trade root. You know what? Let's simplify something here. Let's do something incredibly simple but powerful for ourselves. Here's the trade root, and when I say I want the trade root, I do the obvious here. Transform find child trade root. And we need to return this. I don't know why I didn't do that a long time ago. I really, really don't. I feel like an idiot for not having done it a long time ago, but now every place you see the trade root string, we can simply do this instead. And that not only removes the whole I need a trade root thing, but it also simplifies a lot of what we're going for. Now you'll note some of this says trade root. I'm actually, I can do trade root and then find child amount text. Hey, look at that. That is actually incredibly sexy. I need to do that a lot more often because, so this does a whole bunch of stuff for us. The biggest and most obvious of which is this sets up a system where if I ever have to change the name of the trade root, I don't actually have to hunt through every function for the words trade root and then do that all over the place. I just set it in one place and I'm done. Hands off. Complete. Mental is asking what kind of keyboard I'm using. It's a it actually lacks pretty much any kind of defining marks aside from the fact that I know it has orange backlighting. It's not mechanical or anything. I'm just an incredibly loud typist with a really good microphone, and so it sounds like it's mechanical when it actually is just me like murdering my keys with each press. You would think I like type from up here, and each key press my hand like slams down to the keyboard and then back up again. But that's not the case. It's an IROX Luminescence keyboard. I actually really need to clean this thing. It is completely disgusting. If I look between the keys, yeah, I'm actually not going to do that. We're just, no. Ugh, no. Blue Booger, I'm pretty sure you're trolling me. Wouldn't using a bunch of global variables make it easier? Yes and no. Global variables would kind of make it easier, but it also would be the messy, terrible thing to do. Global variables have a lot of downsides, the biggest of which being that they aren't terribly dynamic, and also that they tend to take up memory all the time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're trolling. I really hope you are. Cybertech just got in. Is this trade route property caching at all, or is the hierarchy crawl? Or are we doing a hierarchy crawl on each usage? So right now I'm actually not caching a ton, mostly because I'm trying not to duplicate a lot of data. If I ever wanted to push this to something like, say, I don't know if I'd ever actually do this, but if I wanted to push this to a phone or tablet or web, the big thing here, and actually I'm planning on doing a PC Mac release, so I'm not actually planning this, but it's just a habit of mine is to not cache things because that's more memory usage, and on devices with limited memory I try not to eat up a ton. Yeah, when I code it probably sounds, you know, in terms of what Mechanical is saying about slamming mechanical keyboards while coding, mine probably sounds something between either like typewriter or small machine gun, depending on how furiously I'm programming. Not always the best thing in the world, but I know it gets the job done, so I'm a little less worried about it. Let's see here. On trade item toggled, yada yada yada. Okay. Right. I was up here in my submit transaction function. So for each one of these that is selected, so first if the trade UI script selected is false, we're just going to skip it. Ooh, I just realized I actually can't. I can't for each unless I collect things and then do the transaction all at once. So yeah, what Cybertech is saying about memory versus computation trade-off is pretty much a constant rule, and it's something that you hear a lot in programming. You pretty much have three options, right? You spend memory on a subject, and that makes it faster. Or you spend computing power on something, and it doesn't take up memory, but it does go a little slower because you spend computational time. So those are the two primary ones you hear about. The third one, which you don't hear about all that often, is your time as a programmer. And that's, that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign when Google tells me I need to leave home a half hour early to get to work on time. Whatever. I'll get to work when I get to work. Programmer time is the third one you don't hear about as often. You tend to be able to spend time to do something cleverly or interesting, and you can actually lower the requirements of the other two somewhat, but now it's costing you a lot of time to get it done in the most efficient manner possible. And obviously you can never drop the memory and computational time to 0. You can get it pretty low, but never quite 0. Afternoon, Fleabum. Let's see here. So, since I can't modify the actual children... Well, you know what? No, I have to wipe the whole interface anyway. So I actually don't see why I care. So let's do the following. First off, for every slot in the player's inventory, we need to empty it. Also, I just realized we might want to keep in mind that a player might not have enough inventory slots to purchase everything that a vendor owns. Something to keep in mind. Now, granted, eventually I want to switch over to probably to something along the lines of words are failing me right now. Something more of a weight limit than a holding things limit. Maybe I'll do a mix of the two. Obviously, you can't hold an infinite number of bottles as long as you're strong enough to hold the bottles. So I'm going to have to figure something out there. So, for each object in the party scroll, so for each object we are selling, we need to gain the amount of money from it. So party instance currency held, and we're going to add to the amount of currency the amount of money that it would be worth. For now, I'm just going to do full sell price, and then I'll do modifications on it later. Blue Booger. And computing time will just go down on its own in a year or two with a new CPU and GPU tech. Kind of, yeah. It's not actually that your computing time goes down. It's that your capacity for spending computing time goes up. In the same way that if you look at the game of Rogue, look at how much memory it uses. If you ever go play the old school DOS game Rogue, which you can online because somebody made an HTML5 component for DOSBox. So you guys should all go play Rogue because it's freaking awesome. And I worked with Michael Toy at one point, and one of the most interesting things I've heard him talk about was just over lunch talking about like details of Rogue and how he did things and what he had to do to fit it in memory, and that was a really cool talk. Playing Rogue, maybe not a requirement for a game developer, but pretty high on the list as an early game. Anyway, currency held. Okay, so we get the currency. We now have to remove the item from our inventory and plop it into the NPC's inventory. So we're going to say NPC, first, inventory item. Actually, we already know the item. So the NPC can just get a copy of the item. They don't even need, well, Eventually, we're probably going to make inventory items be instances of an object of some kind. Just in case they have things like, say... I'm actually trying to think of something. One sec. I got this. Like charges on a wand. Hey, there we go. If you sell somebody a wand with 1 charge versus a wand with 4 charges, there's obviously going to be a price difference here. So the NPC is going to want the following. The NPC has an inventory, of which we are going to add in. Do we know the player character, actually, who owns this thing? No, we don't. It's kind of hilarious. Let's add that to the list of information. Here's the... not player character. Caught myself there. Ooh. Oh. I didn't think about that. Oh, I know. I know. I know what I need to do here. Where is that? On target picked. Trade UI script.owner is this character that we picked out. Cool. This is a lot of setting. I'm not terribly happy about all of it, but I think it's correct. I think it's the right way to go about it. The other way to do this would be more function pointer stuff, but I don't want to mess with that right now. I want to get this out of the way, and then I can come back and clean it up if I feel like spending more time on it. Oh, but the... oh, no, we do have the UI script. I'm losing my mind. Okay. So, here's our trade UI script. We're going to get the owner inventory. Oh, haha. We know the owner is a player character. So it's really safe to do this. PC.inventory slots. Let's see here. Trade UI script dot inventory index. So, okay, we've added it to the NPC's inventory, and we want to take it away from the player. So we're going to null out that inventory slot. Trying to think of anything else we might want to do in here. Is there? We've taken it away, we've done the currency trade, and we've also done the whole... yeah, so the only thing left is that we need to rebuild the trade UI. And that I'm actually going to move into a helper. Because the thing is, you wouldn't see any UI change right now. We've done all the setup where everything's getting created and it's doing all this cool stuff, but we need to actually jump in and do all the UI changes so that the UI matches reality again. Making sure that our UI matches the game information model is really important, obviously. So our party scroll view, which is all the information inside there, for each transform child in this / viewport / content. So we're just going to remove everything in there. No survivors, just destroy child.gameObject. And then we're going to refill it. Because I don't believe in actually copying and pasting a lot of UI. I'm actually going to shift all this code into here. I don't want to duplicate the code, I just want the code to exist in here. Okay, so the only piece of information left is this character. Because we need the character so that objects know who the owner is. Is that it? No. Almost. We're close, actually. So the only piece of information I'm really missing right now is who is being traded with. The submit transaction has no way of knowing who we are actually working with here. I'm tempted to dump the information in the NPC window, but I hate to do that. But since it's the easiest thing I can think of, that's just what we're going to do. If I come up with a better solution, I can fix it later. So you say trade with NPC, and then you select the NPC you are going to trade with. This can stop being passed around. So you pick the character, great. We say the trading PC. We happen to know that the character is a player character. So we don't need this garbage anymore. And now the trading player character is going to be the one we pretty much deal with all the time. And actually, we don't even need to store the owner, do we? No, we don't. We don't need to store the owner anymore, which is great. All the less information that we duplicate. Yes, I know it doesn't contain an owner. That's fine. I did make that player character, so that can bugger off. This can be its replacement. Sweet. And then when you cancel or stop trading, we're just going to set this to null. We empty out the variable when we're done with it. We don't want to leave extra information flying around that could potentially harm us later on. Last piece of information I want to go in here. We are going to set this to false. We don't want this to the trade button to be interactable because that is an expensive operation when nothing happens. We want to make sure some kind of transaction is taking place. Otherwise, it's not really good for us to handle that. So you notice things are disappearing from the inventory. Now I don't have a marker of where the party money is. I probably should have that somewhere. So this actually needs to go back to the NPC window, turn on the trade route so I can see things for a moment. Let's get rid of the action route so it's not all confusing. NPC name, you are in a funny place. Let's fix that. Yeah, let's fix that. Let's leave it directly over. Also, the amount text, we are going to have a funds text. The amount of money, essentially, that is owned by this character. Also, I can't help but note just how wide this thing is. Like, that's really freaking wide. Granted, I guess if you're in the 5-ish digits, we want to make sure that this works. So let's just take the size down to something we can handle, and we're going to set this to best fit. So the upside being, hey, the text will automatically resize itself if it gets too tiny and stops fitting. Downside being that if you have a lot of money, that's going to get kind of tiny pretty fast. And I'm not too excited about that idea. I kind of want a label of some kind. Here, let's take the trade button and this amount text. Drag both of these down. I say that questioningly, if only because I want to make sure that the separation is obvious what's going on here. Funds text, let's make you a little closer to white maybe. So maybe it feels more informational. I don't know if it actually will be more informational, but it will hopefully feel like it is. Oh, and of course I shouldn't simply do that. We need to put the action background back. Otherwise, bad things. So, when we reset everything, there's one more thing here. There is our funds text. And our funds text, fund text, funds, I need to pronounce that D, otherwise it sounds like I'm saying fun text, is the party instance currency held toString plus the letter G. I might even go so far as to remove the letter G after, just because it'd give us more space, right? Another character is more space on the screen that we can use for other things. So hey, look, we have no money to start with, so if I trade away a bunch of things, look, now I have money, and the only thing that obviously isn't happening is that the NPC's items are not being handled in any way, shape, or form. But if we note, okay, I'm going to sell off, okay, I've got a dagger, a potion, a sword, right? I hit cancel is not a good word for that, but it's the word that's there on the button right now. Oh, and you can't even see some of this. I'm sorry, guys. Let's get me over here a little. I'm actually going to cover up some of my mage's information for now. Excuse you, dog. Alright. So, I click trade. I click back. Okay, we still have a lot of money and not a lot of stuff. If I leave the NPC conversation and look at how much gear he has, you'll note he actually doesn't have much anymore. His stuff is significantly down. Great. I do kind of wish I could see the party money somewhere, but I don't actually care enough to do that. At least not right now. This is all like little polish work that needs to get done. There's a lot of that, but far from me to dive into that right now, because I've got about 5 minutes before I really have to make sure I'm in the car and going. Especially, I'm sorry, but I don't know if you guys, well, I can't show you the traffic now, because apparently it's gone, but holy heck, that was a lot of traffic to get to work. Oh well. Thank you guys for joining me. So we got that done. Next up on the list, I guess I should, before I say my goodbyes and announcements and things for the end. Okay, we've knocked out that task. We need to get the NPC's information locked in, and we also need to take care of any other little, like, you'll notice there's some weirdness with the UI still left, mostly from when we started. This is still in a box. When I do the trade UI, though, it hops out of a box and into a much more reasonable bit of information. So that's one thing that needs to get done. Also, on the long list of things, this inventory window is tiny, at least in comparison to a lot of the other things in this game so far. These images are too small. They're really hard to read and understand what's going on. So we need to take care of as much of this as we can. Also, I saw a null reference exception that we'll have to clean up at some point. So there's a lot of little polished things. I might dive into those tomorrow if I have time after we get the NPC items to not only appear but be sellable. Might even start in on some of the logic that details what an NPC is more or less likely to trade. I never want an NPC to straight up not take something, but I want them to pay very little if it's not their expertise. Or I want them to at least take less. So if you're feeling lazy, or if you're in a town with no armor smith and your inventory is full of armor, you'll still be able to get something for it, but you won't get as much as if you were to, say, find an armor smith, walk to the next town. I actually don't know if that's something I like, but it's something I'm thinking of, at least for now. Because it just seems weird to walk up to like a guy selling food and be like, here, have some swords. And he's like, all right, have some money. It just feels odd. Every time I do it in a game, it just kind of irks me slightly. And this is the one game, since I'm making it, that I can do things that don't irk me. It's just how it works. I'm making it. I can make it how I want, damn it. It's part of the fun of making games, though. You can do things in a style that someone else may not like. I am out here to make a game that I think I would like. It's just how I'm going about it. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining me. It's been great. It's been nice having you all around and talking. Today was actually a nice talkative day in comparison to the usual quiet I get. For those of you who are here for the first time, I've got a lot of these. You'll find my YouTube channel wherein I have all of the archive from start until now posted. The only thing you won't find in there is me rejiggering the UI and messing with some of the game level architecture. But aside from that, everything else is sitting in that YouTube archive. I'm going to add this one in. It'll go on the end of the list, just like I always do. Also, I've added a Twitter account that is linked below. So for those of you who want to make sure you never miss a stream of mine, if you follow me on Twitter, that's an easy way to know that I'm about to go out and do my thing online. Fleabum is totally right. TR6s are better than motorbikes. I actually absolutely love my TR6, especially since I've done a... Sorry, this is off topic. I just put a new... Wow, I'm forgetting the word for it. Like, I know it's in there. But I put new carburetors on it. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. New carburetors. I put motorcycle carburetors on it. So it's kind of like a motorbike. Anyway, so yeah, follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitch here. We'll make sure you never miss another stream again. Thanks, guys, for joining me, and it's definitely been a lot of fun, but I gotta get going to work. Webbers? No. I put Makunis, for those who are curious. I'll take a picture of it and throw it on Twitter, but it essentially is, it's just a more technically sophisticated carburetor, and they happen to match TR6s very closely. So very little work is actually needed to attach the Makunis to the TR, which is cool. I got off the stock Strombergs, and I was able to put Mikuni carburetors in, and it has a lot more punch now, and instead of getting 18 miles to the gallon, I get closer to 21 or 22, which is fantastic. So anyway, I'll stop talking cars. I know some of you came here for game dev and not car talk. One of these days, I'll get like a GoPro or something, and I'm just gonna, like, when I work on the car, I'm just gonna turn on the stream and talk, and just like poke at my vehicle, because there's a million and one things that need to be fixed on it. I mean, it's not an English car if it doesn't leak something. So there's always work to be done on it. It might be fun. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining me again. Take care. Hopefully, I will see you tomorrow, because for those who don't know, I do this every morning, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Tuesday through Friday. Monday, I tend to have a stream. It just, the time is a little more hard, or a little more flexible. Thus why it's great to follow me on Twitter. Alright, guys. Take care.